Aussies, ASMRtists around the world, and today we'll be traveling to Australia, with our special guest, Diddly ASMR, Diddly ASMR. So, I'm going to be asking her a bunch of questions about travel and Australia with my handy dandy travel journal. Thank you so much for coming on with me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to represent the Aussie community.
Yes! Okay, so first things first, tell us who you are and what it means to be an Aussie.
Well, I am Diddly ASMR, and what it means to be Australian is really just to be an obnoxiously sarcastic person who loves the sun because you're forced to be in extremely hot temperatures and you just love your mates. You love having a beer together, and that's what it means to be an Aussie.
I love it. That's awesome. That's Aussie-some. What are some of the most relaxing things to do in Australia?
We have some incredible scenery in Australia. I think that our rainforests especially are incredibly beautiful and relaxing. You can hear all the sounds of the different birds and cicadas and bugs and things like that, and the water running, the trees and the leaves rustling in the wind, and that is probably the most relaxing thing we have to offer. I would say the beach, but our waves are pretty hectic, so I wouldn't really call that relaxing.
Otherwise sounds really relaxing. Tell us more about the language in Australia. It's English, but you're known for Aussie slang. Can you give us a few examples of Aussie slang?
Of course, our Aussie slang is quite out there, but we love it. Probably one of the more common ones is like snag, which means sausage, a sausage that you eat. And yeah, we say snag a lot because, you know, us Aussies like to have barbecues, and we definitely don't put shrimps on the barbie. We don't even call them shrimps. Like, you'll never hear an Australian say that. We say prawn, but you'll hear us say a snag on the barbie. And we also love saying Maccas. We love our Maccas, which is McDonald's. If you want to go for a Macca's run at 12 a.m, that means you get in your car and you go grab a Big Mac. We also say thongs that you wear on your feet. And I'm aware for Americans, thongs are very different. You do not wear them on your feet, so there's a bit of confusion there. But yeah, thongs are like flip-flops. And another one is brolly, which is an umbrella, and lollies instead of saying sweets or candy. Those are some of my favorites, for sure.
That's awesome. I remember being very confused when I first heard Australians talk about this guy was telling me about how he was wearing a thong outside today. He was like, "Oh, I'm wearing my thong," and I was like, that's a little too much info. So I even noticed, even with names, there's Aussie slang. Like, I had Australians I met on a trip Sharon.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's something us Aussies would do. We kind of make slang terms for people's names, so you would be Shazza, and then Harry would be Hazza, and Darren would be Dazza. It's kind of weird, but yeah, that's just something us Aussies do. We like to shorten things and make them kind of sweet and snappy.
Cool. Okay, what is one of your favorite foods? Mine is Tim Tams.
My all-time favorite food, does it have to be Australian? My favorite is sushi, which is definitely not Australian. We don't really have many like Aussie foods. We have like damper, which is like a Indigenous type of bread, and it's just made from like flour and water, but yeah, I wouldn't really think that's anyone's favorite food. So sushi it is.
So I hear you also have Milo with you today, which is a famous Aussie drink. Can you share with us?
I'll give the camera a little look at the Milo. So it has a tin lid. You can get these in like 2-liter big tins, but I opted for the 460 grams because this one was on sale. But yeah, you'll find this in every single Aussie cupboard, every Aussie kitchen. You just grab a spoon and put it in milk. But I like to grab like 4 or 5 spoons. What does it say on the back? Does it have like a recommended spoonage? Ah, yes. Simply place 3 heaped spoonfuls of Milo into a glass, and you can have it hot or cold. But yeah, you gotta put like 5 spoons in instead.
What are your thoughts on Vegemite?
Well, I have some here with me right now.
Oh no.
I do enjoy it. I'll have it on toast in the mornings, but it has to be with butter or cheese. And only in very small amounts, the Vegemite, because it's very strong. I think a lot of people get Vegemite wrong. Every time I see videos of Americans trying Vegemite, they eat it like it's damn Nutella, like a big spoonful with nothing else. Of course it's gonna taste bad if you do it like that. You gotta get a little bit on the knife, thinly spread it on your toast, get some butter on it, or you put the butter first, and then it's good.
For those who don't know, can you explain what Vegemite is?
Well, the instructions say that it is made from yeast extract grown on barley and wheat. So the main ingredients are just yeast extract and salt. So yeah, this thing is salty as heck. And yeasty as heck.
So you've been warned for those who want to try it. What's an Australian only food chain you'd recommend to someone?
Literally the only one I can think of is Grilled, which is like a burger chain. Literally every other chain here is from somewhere else, so we don't have many like Australian only food chains. But yeah, Grilled has really there's a drink in Australia called a spider, and it's basically like soft drink, which is what we call like soda or Coke. So like frozen soft drink with ice cream on top. And that's what a spider is. I think at Macca's it's called a McSpider. So
Oh
yeah,
my
I
gosh.
guess that might be an Australian special menu item. It's funny that we call it a McSpider considering that Australia is known for its incredibly deadly spiders, but yeah.
Okay, that is amazing. I legit thought that, like, you meant spider burgers. I thought you were gonna say or something, so. On to the next one. What hotspots would you recommend travelers to visit in Australia?
Well, I think the fan favourites tend to be like Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, and it's pronounced Melbourne, not Melbourne or whatever other people say. I personally really love Sydney. There's just always something to do, lots of things to see, and the harbour is especially beautiful. So yeah.
What activities would you recommend travelers to do?
I definitely think the number one thing on your list should be to go to some kind of wildlife park where you can see native Australian wildlife, because I think that's one of the best things about Australia. We have such beautiful and diverse wildlife that you cannot see anywhere else in the world. You know, we have, of course, the kangaroos, koalas, dingoes, all those amazing animals, and our birds especially. As you know, I'm an avid bird lover, so our parrots and things are just so colourful, beautiful. Budgies, rainbow lorikeets, literally rainbows, like, they're rainbow birds. And yeah, so I think seeing our native wildlife is a must. Absolutely.
And I believe you actually have your own bird, right?
My bird, he is not Australian, he is native to India, so he is an Asian bird, but he is blue. He is beautiful. I've done some ASMR videos with him. My most popular video on my channel is with my bird Ringo, and I also have a Konya, which is a South American bird, and another bird, a budgie, which is an Australian bird, a budgerigar, I think is the full name. And he is like this big, so cute.
That's so cool. So definitely make sure to check out Diddly ASMR's channel to watch some cool bird ASMR. What's a popular event that is unique to Australia?
Honestly, the only thing that comes to mind is Australia Day, which is just really a day where everyone gets together with their friends and family and just has a massive piss up, which is basically where you just get really drunk and party. And yeah, that's really all Australia Day entails. There are some like cultural aspects of it, but it's mostly just a big piss up where everyone gets drunk and listens to music and parties and goes swimming because it's incredibly hot in the middle of summer.
And for you, that would be like December, January, right? Because your summer is during that time of the year.
Yes, our seasons are, I think, the exact opposite to America. So January is summer. We have Christmas in summer, so all the like snowy decorations we see, it doesn't really match with what we're experiencing.
is your favorite Aussie singer?
Definitely the Veronicas. Absolutely iconic. Like, any Australian party you go to, you're almost guaranteed to hear a Veronica song, even though they've kind of not been popular for like a decade now. But yeah, the Veronicas for sure. I think Sia as well is Australian. Apart from that, everyone else is irrelevant, pretty much. We don't have many like singing talent here, I guess. But the Veronicas.
I actually didn't know Sia was Australian.
Learn something new every day, yes.
What is your favorite Australian TV show?
There really aren't many that come to mind. Like, usually our TV mostly consists of American shows. But I know one Australian show that was my favourite when I was a kid was called Round the Twist. I think that came out like in the late 90s and maybe continued into the early 2000s. But it was just a really weird, wacky show. It was also kind of nightmare-inducing. Like, it was one of those shows where it was so weird that like it would give you nightmares as a kid, but it was still so entertaining. Yeah. That's an Aussie classic, that one.
Okay, I have to ask, have you seen H2O? Because that's like the only Aussie show I know of, but I love it.
Oh my god, yes. I loved H2O. I watched that when I was like early teenager, I think, on Disney Channel. Was it on Disney Channel? I think so. Yeah, that was an awesome show.
Actually, on Nickelodeon, I believe, for me.
Really? I swear. Yeah, I can't remember. But I used to love that show. In fact, I don't even think I even knew as a kid that it was an Australian show. Which is weird considering they all have Australian accents, but you're so used to hearing American accents on TV as a kid, because most of the shows that we watch are American. I don't really take notice of the accents.
And for those of you who don't know, H2O is a show about girls who are like secretly mermaids, and they turn into the mermaid when they touch water.
Yeah, we all secretly wished we had like their powers as a kid, eh? Trying to like heat stuff up and with your mind powers.
Well, it was like the closest thing to Avatar: The Last Airbender for me.
Yes.
Like in waterbending.
I loved Avatar as well as a kid.
Yes.
Well, I still do. I've watched that show a lot, many times.
What are some cultural nuances unique to Australia?
Honestly, the only thing I can think of is swearing. Like, swearing is just like a completely normal thing here. Like, it's not really seen as negative or very offensive. I think in a lot of other countries that would be like obscene. The C word.
Let's talk about school. Is it expensive to study in Australia? Like, what are tuition fees normally like?
So, when you say school, do you mean like university?
Yes, uni.
Okay. Because here, when we hear school, we just think of like primary school or high school. We never call university school. We just call that uni for short. But I wouldn't say it's cheap here. Compared to other countries, it's probably a lot better, but for like a 3-year bachelor's degree, you're looking at anywhere from like $1,500
usually be like 4 years as common.
Really? For a bachelor's degree?
Yep.
Okay, well, here it's like pretty much standard for a bachelor's degree. It's 3 years. I don't know of many where it's more than that. I think maybe engineering is 4, but yeah, I think it's pretty standard. Bachelor's degree is 3 years.
What is one thing we haven't discussed that people should know about Australia or Australians?
I think Australia has a really incredible Indigenous culture that a lot of non-Australians don't really hear much about. I know, like, everyone knows about the didgeridoo, which I think among Aboriginal people is called a yidaki. Yeah, like, Aboriginal music is awesome. I always love seeing people play the didgeridoo and do their, like, cultural dances and cultural art. Aboriginal art is really cool as well. With all, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but with like hundreds to thousands of little dots all over the paper. And they just paint these like really, like, it's just like painting a story. Like they'll put a lot of the native wildlife in it, like the kangaroos, platypus, all that, and the landscape. They incorporate like a lot of red to symbolize like the red dirt, the red earth, and yeah, like a lot of Aboriginal culture is like really, really cool. And I think a lot of non-Australians don't really know a whole lot about it.
Yeah, I didn't know about it. That's really cool. Where has been one of your favorite places to visit in Australia?
I haven't actually done like a whole lot of traveling in my lifetime. Australia is massive, and like most of us live on the coast, so I've been to like some parts of South Australia that were like really nice. The scenery. I think one of my favorite places would have to be Sydney, just because there's so much to do, so much to see, good food, good people. I mean, good people all around Australia, but yeah, Sydney is one of the places I really like going to.
What is one of your favorite places to travel to around the world?
I feel like I don't really have a good answer for this just because I haven't done much traveling. I went to China earlier this year.
That counts.
Okay, it was like when COVID like first happened, so it wasn't really a huge outbreak, but I mean, if I was there for an extra week, maybe I would have gotten stuck there, but it all worked out quite good. But I loved China because I'm learning the language actually, so it was really awesome to finally get to go there. And I love Chinese culture, Chinese food, Asian food in general. Like I said, I love sushi, so I'd really like to go to Japan as well.
Yes, I highly recommend Japan. Where would you like to visit one day?
I would definitely love to visit Japan, but like maybe even more so, I'd love to go to America, and I always have. Never been to America, but always have wanted to go just because we, like growing up as an Australian, you experience so much American culture, whether that be like through your media, your music, like all the movies you ever watch, like a lot of the food here, like the fast food chains and all that. So I think it would be cool to actually go to America because I don't know, there's a lot of American influence, I guess, in Australia. So yeah.
Okay, well, we're at the end now, so thank you once again for chatting with me today, Diddly ASMR, and let's cap it off with a trigger, an ASMR trigger. So show us one of your favorite triggers.
Well,